Hello, back with another lap guide, and this week it is COTA. A very tricky track, very tricky to convey what to do, so hopefully it's of some use to people. Enjoy! Righty ho, here we go. So right the way over to the right here, right the way over to the right at full speed. You're looking for the second Rolex sign there. You can put your right-hand tyres onto the red and white curb if you want. You can even go all the way over to the red section. It depends how much the vibration bothers you. It gets on my nerves a little bit, so I tend not to do this because it's quite through the steering wheel if you do that. But you can do for ultimate lap time. It's probably a tiny bit quicker to do this, but again, whatever you're comfortable with. So once you hit the second Rolex sign, braking all the way down from top gear to first gear. As you do so, trying to look for the apex there, which is obviously hidden at the moment, sadly, by the A-pillar. But you just have to guesstimate where it is, really. Once you've slowed the car right down, stay on the brake a little bit, just trail brake in. And try and get your left-hand tyres to cross over the red and white curb here, but don't hit the little orange raised section, as you're going to be a bit of a pogo stick after that. So once you hit this section here, it's a case of trying to feed in the power as quickly as you can, but also as smoothly as you can. So can you do the two-stage half throttle to stabilize the car and then the rest of the way, or smoothly add the power? I find at this track, if you turn your traction control down a little bit so there is some rotation available on the throttle, it does help. And then you can drift all the way out to here. Make sure you keep your left-hand tires to the left of the white line, otherwise you'll get a track cut. So it's a case of experimenting really, and seeing how quickly and early you can get on the power after that corner, because this next section, if you get it right, should be flat. So drift back over as much as you can to the left. You won't probably be able to get right the way over to the left, but this corner here now, you need to cut this as much as you can, because it should be flat once your tyres are up to temperature at least. If you don't get the angle right though, you will drift out a little bit too wide. So out to the sort of middle of the road, turn in early so your car goes across the red and white section here. Keep again your left tyres to the left of the white line. You should be able to do this all flat, like I say. Bring your car to sort of the middle of the road here, and then you're aiming to start turning kind of about where the WEC sign on the end turns into a Goodyear sign. About there. It's difficult to see because it's very, very... the angle makes it difficult to see the corner that you're aiming for here. But you want to be turning before you go under the Goodyear bridge. And the idea here is to straighten this section of S's as much as you possibly can without getting a track cut. And the whole section is a deceleration zone. To a certain extent, you will probably use the throttle to stabilize the car in between bits, but the idea is with each one you slow down a little bit more, because after 2 or 3 S's you've then got a long right-hander which is quite slow. So yes, turn in here, cut this as much as you can, don't worry about the orange bits, they bounce you around a little bit but they're not too hazardous, at least in this car. So you'll be flat through that section. That first section is completely flat. As soon as you're back on the tarmac and the car is stable, it's then a case of a good sharp dab of brake. Off the brake, turn into this section. Brake again. Into this section. Again, you're cutting these as much as you can. And at this point, brake again. But I also go down a gear at this point from 4th to 3rd. Again, cut in here. Lift off the throttle. Only want to drift out to about the middle of the road like this. Come off the throttle, which tighten the line, and you go back in to cut the second part of this. Hope this is making sense. It's quite a tricky track, this one. Out to sort of the middle of the road, and then back across, still in 3rd gear. Another dab of brake, which you keep on slightly to help the front bite, so you can turn into this left-hander here. Again, you can cut this. As soon as you've gone over that apex, I go back on full power. Drift out to the right here and then straighten the car, hard brake down to 2nd gear. This point, I think it helps to keep your right hand wheels on the red section, your left hand wheels on the tarmac, so the curb is kind of going underneath the car but not actually being touched by anything. Just hug this section around, and then you're looking for where the red and white curb ends and turns into one last sort of decreasing strip of white. Once you get to that, that's your acceleration point. Now if you're at this angle here and you've got the car set up reasonably well, it's possible to do this flat. If you're struggling with that though, it's probably best to just have a little bit of a lift. You won't lose too much time from a bit of a lift. So yeah, you'd be in second gear, up, cut over this. If the traction controls turn down a little bit, then that should give you a bit more movement, but you have to be careful that you don't go into a spin at this point, because as you bounce over that curb, that can unsettle the back of the car a little bit, and if you're on full throttle, the back wheels can start to spin. So try and keep the car as straight as you can. You can drift right the way out onto this section here as long as you keep your left-hand tyres on the white line. And just before the modal bridge, start to turn back in again. Once again, cut this section. All flat down here. You get banged around quite a lot. It's quite a rough... the track itself is fairly smooth, but with all the curbs you use, it does tend to bounce you around a lot, which is why I tend not to brake on the red and white curb, because you get a bit sick of the brrr through the wheel. Here you're looking out for the second modal sign at the 100 board here. Again, you can put your tyres on the red and white section or just stay on the tarmac, whichever you find more comfortable. Possibly you use that for qualifying, and then in the race not so much, because it's more likely for things to go a little bit wrong. Right the way down to first gear. Again, you're trying to look out for the apex at this point as you slow down. Bit of a trail brake into it. It's difficult to see once again because you've your A-pillar, but ideally at this point the apex of the corner should just pop out onto your windscreen. And again, as soon as you've gone over that, you start to accelerate as quickly as you can. Drift right the way out to that point there. No further though, as you'll get another track cut. Obviously flat all the way down here. Now, you've got a large Michelin sign. Ignore that one. After that, you've got 3 smaller Michelin signs. Now again, over to the right, up to you whether you're on the curb or not. But I brake kind of halfway between these 2 Michelin signs on the right here. So about this point here, hard on the brakes in a straight line, all the way down to first gear. Start to turn in on a trail brake again. Same technique as the other corners, where you're just trying to get that apex. And then accelerate out. You can use all of this. Get your car back over to the left. And you see there's a white line here on the painted sort of just to the left of the circuit. Excuse me, that's your braking reference for this next corner. I stay in second gear for this. It's kind of tricky. Keep the brake on as you turn in here. Get as close to the orange sausage as you can without actually going onto it. And then it's a case of patience, because you're looking over there, trying to get the car to rotate so that you can clip that apex. Now there's 2 ways of doing this. You can just be very, very patient and just wait for the car to go round, or if you've got the car set up with quite low traction control, you can use the throttle to rotate it slightly. That's just a matter of how confident you are with your car control, really. You're aiming to clip that. This point, full power up to third gear in my case, and then just as the track starts to darken here with the rubber on the tarmac, that's the best braking reference I can find for this. You're pointing the car in a straight line as much as you can, pointing towards off the track there. There's like a little JCB and a big black, I assume it's a flag sign or something like that. You aim towards that in a straight line, brake all the way down to first gear, go quite far out, and then at this point you need to be looking as far to the left as you can, again for the apex. Stay on a slight trail brake to get the car to turn in. Once again, hoping for that little apex to appear there. It's in your windscreen, and then same procedure again. Start to get on the power as much as you can and drift out to the right. Now this section, I'm not 100% confident with the way I do it. Like I say, I'm not the fastest person in the world, but I do okay. But I can't really get my head around exactly what you're supposed to do here, so all I can do is try and convey the way I do it, and hopefully it will work for you. So you'd be up to third gear here. Ignore this first apex, stay sort of in the middle of the road and then lift here. So the car tightens up for the second one. Try and just clip the red and white curb there on the left, and then it's a case of feathering the throttle as much as you can to maintain a steady speed around here until you're confident you can put your foot right down. I go up to fourth gear at this point to make it a little bit less likely to lose control on the throttle. Up to fourth gear. At this point you can accelerate. Go out to the left to an extent, but don't go too far because you need to get your car back over to the right in readiness for the next corner. So about out to here if need be. You can go further, but for safety I'd say that's about as far as you want to go, because you need to drift back over to the right and get the car in a nice straight line so that you can brake for this corner here. Now this corner you tend to have to turn in a little bit earlier than you think you do. You can trail brake, but in my experience this corner is where the car is the most unstable, and it's very easy for the back to just slip away from you, particularly with this tyre model we have now. It can break away quite suddenly and very difficult to catch. So I would say it's best to try and do your braking in as straight a line as you can. Turn in nice and early in third gear. You can cut this far more than you think you can. You can actually put your left wheels on the left of the orange sausage curb and your right wheels on the track, and you don't generally get a cut warning there. Drift right the way out, full throttle, and then just leave the car like this. Just drive down this curb, and then you're braking just before this white line going all the way. I think it's something to do with the pits. Just before that, brake all the way down to second gear. Some people use first. I personally find second easier here. Turn in nice and patient until you can get full throttle and drift all the way out to about this point. And that's a lap. So a little bit quicker now. Try to at least. In sixth gear, second roll out sign. And the throttle as quickly as we can. Turn in very early. Stay on the throttle as we turn here, then brake. Bit more brake. Braking down to third. Just on and off the throttle to keep the line nice and tight. Dab of brake there to get the car to turn. And down to second gear, following this, hugging the inside, there's our exit. Out for the second modal sign. Still on the brake a little bit, and then the key to all of these corners is just accelerating as smoothly and early as you can, because they all have a reasonable straight after them. So the exit is very important. 6. Halfway between these two signs. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right back over to the left, just stay in second, hit the line, and using the throttle to turn the car around. Up to third, aim towards the sign, keep the brake on slightly. Third gear lift off now so it tightens the line. Fourth, steady throttle. I think we can go from there. Back to the left, back to the right, sorry. A little bit wide there. Second. As soon as you get to the orange, you can start to accelerate. But you need low traction control, really, so just helps it to rotate. So yeah, hopefully that gives you some idea. Like I say, I'm not the best here by any means, but I think there's hopefully a bit of information there that will be of use to people. So I'll put a faster lap on now, and once again, thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one. Ta-ta!
That time was a 2:10.07.
Brr.